All right, so welcome to the exchange. So, first and foremost, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just here to give you my opinion on what I see in the stock markets. Looking to the left to see what has happened, then looking to the right to see what may happen. Do your own due diligence. Make sure you invest money in things you know about. If you don't know, invest in yourself and learn. That's the best way you can make money out here and have some security in these markets. So, let's look at what happens to stock markets so we can get a better idea and some security in exchange. Welcome to the Exchange Show.
All right, let's get started with Meta, aka Facebook. So, as you can see, let's just make it super plain. There are gaps here that are going to need to be filled eventually. When? We don't know. All right, let's just be honest. You never know when a gap is going to be filled. So, we had a partial fill of this area here, but if you notice, the whole area is not filled. Okay, we have area pretty much from here, which is 415 down to 407. So there we go. And then of course we have this area here, and that is from 444 up to 473. That's a $30 gap area. Uh, so if you notice, Meta had earnings. So let's play this out. Where were earnings? Here to here. There we go. There we go. To there. Now, on the earnings, if you notice, they did well, right? Yeah, but then the price just dropped, and then automatically you got a whole bunch of buying going in. Now, I'm still currently in a sell zone here. What I'm looking for is, fill up this gap if we're going to continue buying up. It looks like it wants to continue up only because of the following things. You have this strong buying candle after earnings. Then you have this candle came about halfway through, which means it picked up a lot of orders in this area here, in this area, to continue going up. So it didn't all the way fill this gap. A lot of people had orders waiting at 414, and it picked those orders up to go further up. Because there are gaps on both sides of this, though, you have to be wary. If you're going to be playing options, think about where this may go currently. What's the current trend? The current trend is down. Now we have a good pullback coming here, but we are in a sell zone. We're under the 14, we're under the 48. We're around the 50 of it. So we're around the 100 here. But here is a 200 down here at 374. So the computer just gave us what probably the algorithms are thinking. But here we go. Let's go and look at where are more orders waiting. Let's say definitely around here. And this is going to be a support area there. And let's see. If we're going to be looking at, well, you're also going to have a big area of there we go. This is going to most likely be a demand area, and we're also going to take another one and place it like about here. Another demand zone. So these areas here, I'm looking for, if we have a continuation of Facebook or Meta coming down, I'm looking for it to get to these areas at 359, maybe dipping in here for picking up of orders. But if you can see right here at this candle right there, there's a lot of rejection in this area at 359. So to me, it looks like the lowest would be there. So let's look at a bullish case. A bullish case on this will have us going up. So if we're going to be going up, you already see the gap here, but it's actually there. So we have a gap that starts at 446 and change and goes up to 484. That's a lot of money. It's a $40 gap. Now this $40 gap is going to need to be filled probably sooner rather than later, but we still are in a downtrend. This is in the daily time frame. So if you look at smaller time frames, you may see different information. But currently, I'm looking for this to continue down. So why am I looking for this to continue down? I'm going to pull up my fib retracement, come down to here, and it only came up to the 236. That means this is a strong downtrend currently. Until the price action goes back up, it's going to have to break this area here, and that's going to be at 507 to continue a bullish run to go for that high at 530, 533. Currently, I don't know if that's going to happen, but you would have to see a break of this high. Let's start with the very next high it has to break, and that's going to be 446. So that's what I see for Meta, aka Facebook. But tell me what you think in the comments. So let's put this here. That's going to be some resistance. So if it breaks that resistance, it goes through that gap, big money's coming. That's lovely. So Tesla, that's our next one. If we're going through Tesla, let's see what we got here. Okay. If you notice, same thing. We just made a gap below the current price at 168, but there is a gap from 147 all the way up to 157. It's a $10 gap. That $10 gap is probably going to need to get filled as well. If you notice, we are still in a downtrend as well. Let's see what our indicator says. All right, we are still below. I'm in a selling zone. So this is telling me this is most likely a pullback just to continue up to probably 174.62 and then continue down. That downward motion was probably going to end around 130.16. Now, after that, you would have to have a double bottom. So let's put that up here. If we get a double bottom on Tesla, let's say around this area, we're going to look for divergence. All right. At that point, if I get a double bottom on Tesla, I'm looking for the divergence on my lower indicator here. Well, let me that. There we go. Here we go. That's better. I'm going to be looking down here on my indicator. If I see that our next low is higher, is going to be higher than this. So if our next low is higher than a 28.47 in this indicator, that's going to be to me a divergence. It's going to be a bullish divergence going in the upward motion for Tesla. So I'm looking for it to get to 130. Of course, I'm going to look to buy some more at 130, but I'm also going to be saying, if I'm here, do I see a bullish divergence? So that's what I see. A more downward motion for Tesla to fill the gap, which is a $10 gap. So if you're looking, I'm looking for some puts. So what's our next one we're going to talk about? Next one we're going to talk about is, let's go to Walmart, right? All right. So here we are at the 50. We're at the 14. I'm going to tell you now, I don't want to trade this at all at this moment. Indicator saying, hey, it can go either way. And I'm telling you why. The reason it can go either way is because at this moment, we have all of our moving averages tied up right here. This is horrible. And the reason being is there's no real defined direction. So take this off. Let's just go ahead and box it up. If we box it up, we'll be able to say, all right, if it breaks this area, let's see, about there. So we are in a box at this moment. We are consolidating. This consolidation is letting us, if you're in an option on Walmart, you're getting eaten up by the time decay. So you don't want to be in an option when you get this kind of price action. You want a steady upward or steady downward movement. That's how you make your money. So with this, I would wait for a confirmed breakout to the upside or the downside. Now, we have earnings down here at 57.38. We have a gap between 57.38 and 57.57. That's going to have to be filled. And actually, it's a little bit bigger. Here we go. 57.33 to 57.57. So that's where price action could come. All right. Now remember, Walmart had a stock split, a 3-to-1 stock split in February. If you missed it, don't worry. I missed it too. I was very upset. But we are now looking at a new price for Walmart. So if you happen to get it lower than before the split, which was on the 26th of February, so the high on that day was $59, the low on that day, $58, you're probably going to be doing pretty well. Now remember, this gap down here is at 57. You're probably not going to get a better deal in the near future, but you have to see if this area, which I think is consumer discretionary, if we're going to have some pullbacks on this. So we're waiting to see, is this price action going to return to the earnings area? Generally, we'll look for that in the 16 weeks between earnings. Generally, that's what it usually is. So let's see if we get this downward motion to our earnings and gap area, and then a push forward to break our last highs, which are up here. So I'm gonna make a resistance there. That'd be my next price target. So if we get a pull down to this $57 area, I would probably do a call for $60. Do it far out. And that's it for Walmart. So that's done. Let's hit up. Oh, yeah. Almost forgot this one. Snap. Okie dokie. So if you look here, Snap, it jumped all the way from 11.39 all the way up to 14.55. And if you had a call in, you were happy. Now, I had already did this. I was looking at Snap to fill this gap. I have been looking at other things and missed it. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. We got earnings up here at, there we go. Earnings up here at 17 and change. Let's make that straight. That probably would help me. Yeah, around 17.48. That's probably going to be my last target up here in this area, and it supplies on the daily time frame. We are in the middle of this gap. This gap is going to need to get filled, so let's see what we're dealing with here. Okay, we're above everything. We're in a buy zone. It's probably going to be a slight pullback coming for Snap. That slight pullback could give you a great entry at the 100, which is 13.51, or the 200, which is 11.95. So let's take this off and let's see, do we have any defined areas? We have a demand zone down here, but let's do something else. All right, so we had a smaller demand zone right here. And remember, zones are literally zones. They're not laser specific. So it came pretty close to this demand zone here. So if you notice, we came down, we pushed up, came down again, right to where some orders were waiting. Those orders were then picked up, shot up here. So now you not only have a gap here, but you have a gap there. And let's be very sure of what we're going to do here. And a gap here. So you also have a gap above and below the current price. So we saw this somewhere else this week. With that being said, since we are at the top of this range, could it push a little bit further? Yeah, it could go right into this demand zone, or sorry, the supply zone we have up here. And that supply zone could give us orders to go down to fill the gaps, or it can push further and then leave that gap. So we got more gaps to fill. Let's move this over. That one's there. And Yet another gap. So you got 3 gaps, 2 below, 1 above. All right, now generally this is 1 big gap, but since it's in 2 areas, I'm going to count them as 2, and then you have this one here. So snap. This is going to be, and this candle here, if you look, is indecision. It shot up, but can it be supported? So let's look at one thing we can see if this can help us, and that is all our orders are down here. No man's land, nothing here. So when we get down here, it may push us further down based on the volume from Friday, and that's late. So we'll see what happens with Snapchat. And our last one is SPY, of course. Let's look at that. All right, I love dealing with SPY. So currently I already know I'm in a buy zone for SPY, but I need to see something. I have my 6% pullback. If I have my 6% pullback, am I ready for a 12% push up? I am here. Once again, I need to see a break of this session high, which was probably from 2 days ago, but it is still at that 0.50. That 0.50 needs to be broken for me. If not, I see a further downtrend, most likely going back down to this 493 area, and if that gets broken, 480. But I have to make sure before I play any kind of SPY for a swing trade, I want to make sure I get a break of this area right here, which is that 509.20. If I get a good break of that, and actually I want to move that up to 509.82. If I get a break on that, I'll get in, but it has to be strong volume. If you notice the volume, look, it's going down from this sell. We have some buys here, not as strong as that sell, but let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. All right, point of control is up here. Most of the orders, not orders, yeah, but orders. Yeah, most of the orders are going to be around 513. So if we can break up here, get to 513, that'd be the next area above I'm looking for. Let's see if we can get some agreement. 511. All right, that's about right. 512, and then here about 513. All right, so I'll run into the 50-day moving average before I hit anything else. So that would be my price target of 511 and change. Once it hits there, I would look for it to have some kind of reaction in the daily time frame. After that, the next area would be 517 if it's going up. If it's going down, of course I already said 493 and 480 if it continues down. The 100-day moving average may give it some friction, but if it's coming down, that may line up specifically or directly with 493. All right, that's it for this week on the exchange. Thanks for watching. If you got any comments, put them down here. I'll be glad to listen to you. See ya.